Do you want to make more sales without having to chase after more customers, more clients, or to get more leads? And so, if you were here yesterday, we talked a little bit about um, the key to making more sales. And so, today is going to expand on what we already started the conversation with, primarily in order to help you to realize that you don't need to work harder in order to get more sales. You don't need more leads in order to translate that into more customers. What you do need to is to have a proven system, a process, and a strategy that is aligned to the journey between where your customers are and where you ultimately want them to go, which is, as a business owner, working with you, purchasing your products and services that can transform their lives and help them. Hello, Brianka. If you're brand new to me, my name is Susan McVeigh. I am a married mama of two and a business, sales, and wealth strategist. And today we're diving into three specific things that I want to help you understand in order to make more sales without having to put in more upfront work. Okay, so do me a favor, if you are on here live or on the replay, please say hello, where you're watching, and comment what your business is all about down in the comments. But if you can like, subscribe, and tag somebody that might benefit from this, it'll certainly help me to help more people. So I'm referring to my notes here because I want to make sure that I stay on track. Number one is the average order value. Sometimes people call this the average cart value, so the ACV or the AOV. And really, what this comes down to is how much does the average client or customer pay you? Like, and if you're brand new in business or you're earlier on in business, I want you to think about the fact that it is much easier to get your customer to pay you over and over again, which we will discuss in just a moment. But it's way easier to have somebody who's already paid you once pay you again and again and again and again. Now, they don't have to just pay you every single month, although we're going to get to that in a moment. What you want to think about is, because I know that the number one thing that comes up when I say this to clients is, but how? How does that happen? So just park that for a moment, okay? I want you to park it because the how is going to depend. And so I can't answer that for you because it's going to depend on what you sell, how you sell it, and who you sell it to, okay? So for right now, what I want you to think about is big picture. How do these pieces kind of work together so that you understand how to put them in place? And if you don't have some of these things in place in your business, then it highlights an opportunity that maybe is a gap that you could take advantage of. So that's ideally what I'm trying to point out for you here, because as an expert on the other side of where it is that you want to go, I know the pitfalls, I know the road bumps, I know the obstacles and the barriers that typically tend to get my clients trapped into either analysis paralysis or perfectionism or inaction or all of the above, where you simply are making things way harder than they need to be. So, average order value is simply if you were to take all of the sales that you have in your business and you divide it by the number of people who have made a purchase, right? So, if we just do simple math, right? So, if you had $100,000 in your business and you had 1,000 people, that's $100 per order, right? That's the average order value. Now, depending on what you sell, you could have one person spending the bulk. And in fact, most of the time, 80% of your sales come from 20% of your clients. Again, generalizing. But if you had something that was very low ticket, so let's say it's a $5, $6, $7, $8, $9 product or even a service, but really we're probably going to be dealing with products here, then how many of those do you need in order to turn a profit? And this is where you'll find that a lot of marketers focus on what's called a loss leader. And it's the same as when you go into the grocery store. The grocery store is going to sell something at a loss that they know you need. Let's say milk, bread, butter, eggs, right? Something that's a staple. And they do that strategically because that way they know that, hey, if you buy this, then chances are you're not coming to the grocery store just for that one thing. You're going to load up your cart, right? So in the old days, that's literally what we would physically do. We would go take our shopping cart and we just start putting stuff in. And that's why oftentimes you'll see that the grocery store is organized very similarly. It doesn't matter what type of store that you go into because there's some psychology involved and there's human behavior involved with how we maneuver through a physical space. So in your online business or in your physical business, what I want you to think about is for your dream clients, what is the type of purchases that they would make? And if you look at the problems and the solutions that you provide, right? Like they have a problem, you have a solution. And as you solve solutions, there's going to be another problem and another solution, which hopefully you are providing. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to offer everything in the kitchen sink, but if it is something that's within your wheelhouse, then why aren't you offering it? Because what it will end up doing is it will increase the average order value because it will be available. So it's like going to McDonald's or any other restaurant that has combos. I almost forgot the word, right? Would you like fries with that? Would you like a drink with that? And so when you get these add-ons, when you have the opportunity to, yes, I'll take that. Yes, I'll take that. That's why there's all of these small little purchases that are right near the cashier at most of the stores that you're going to go to, whether it's a grocery store, even a retail store. The accessories and these small little things that certainly add up. That's why if you're a lady, even if you're a man and you're walking into Sephora, guess what they do right before you check out? There's all of those things that you have to zigzag around because guess what you're going to do? Add to cart, add to cart, add to cart. Let me grab that. Oh, that looks good. That looks good. Because what that does is it bumps up the amount that you're going to spend, the average order value. So that one customer that just walked in thinking, I'm only going to be spending $100 today, now has loaded up with other things. And so automatically the profit of that customer has gone up, right? And so if you're able to take advantage of this one strategy alone, I guarantee that you're going to make more money without having to chase after more customers, more clients. You simply are going to be serving them better because you're offering them up additional products and services that make sense. Now, here's the other thing that I want you to consider, because sometimes you go, well, I don't have the capacity. Like I'm just at the early stages, or maybe you're winding down because there's a lot of businesses that are actually in the winding down stages of their life cycle. And so if you don't want to add on any additional products or services, maybe you like your operations the way that they are, and it's very lean, it's a mean, and it's a fighting machine. And so you're good, but you know that there's an opportunity to help clients. Well, then find another business and create a partnership. That's literally how I built to $15 million in 18 months so quickly. It wasn't all on my own. And yes, we sold hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of services, but that's beside the point. We also leveraged collaborations and community and key relationship centers of influence to create referrals and partnerships that will allow us to build and increase the value of our customers, our customer base, and their loyalty to us. So you can borrow that in your own business. Number 2 strategy, the frequency by which people buy. And so if you think about Apple does this extremely well because Apple has created a whole ecosystem around how they help their customers buy more, and specifically more of what they offer. They make them so sticky that it's very, very difficult. Once you're in Apple, I mean, hello. I can't even tell you how many times I complained about this stinking battery. And yet, here I am. How about you? And I have family members who make fun of us because they're Team Android. Maybe that's you. I don't know. But I know that chances are you likely are also an Apple fan because my analytics tell me that the 75 to 85% of my audience also use Apple. And why do we do this? Because Apple has made it so simple for us to be able to buy and buy more frequently. They make it so easy for us to engage with their products and services. A lot of their products and services are subscription based. Hello, you got a phone, you get Apple Care, right? Hello, you got a phone, you probably need cloud services. Hello, you got a phone, you probably have Apple Music. Hello, you got a phone, maybe now you also have Apple TV Plus. Like, how many subscription services do you have attached to your phone? I know for me, it's more than one, it's more than two. And so when you think about it from that perspective, that adds up. This is why Apple is a, trillion-dollar plus company. It is not because they're selling huge value items, although obviously this ain't chump change. But the reality is that you selling a service, you have the ability to charge way more than what Apple charges. If you are coaching or consulting for high level, high value clients, then the reality is that they could easily pay you 4, 5, 6, and yes, even 7 figures. Yes, even in this current economy. It actually doesn't matter. And in fact, corporate clients typically will invest more heavily in training and training services when things get slow because they don't have to keep up with business. They have the time and the ability and the capability to now spend on training their team in order to up level them and ramp up their knowledge during those slower periods to take advantage of those lulls so that they are better equipped when times shift, because they will. What's old is new again, and what is down will come back. So it's just a matter of time. And the biggest companies know this, they take advantage of it. And if you are positioning yourselves to the right people, the most affluent client for you, right? And this is not about where you are right now, it's about the solution that you provide and how you position yourself for that solution for that person or that company, as it may be. So consider, can you make your products or services stickier? This is why consumer products, you can make a lot of money without having to charge a lot of money. So one of my clients was a service-based entrepreneur, and she ended up creating a whole product line. And she did it out of her kitchen, right? And so this was, gosh, right before the pandemic. And it was kind of a passion project, but it helped to support the work that she was doing with her clients, right? So she's very much holistic and health and wellness focused. And so the coaching arm of her business was a higher price point. But the product-based business, she wasn't sure if it would even work, but it was something that was driven out of a personal need. It solved a problem for her. And as she created these products and started to share with her colleagues, she started to bring them into work because people would ask, like, what are you doing with your skin? What are you doing about this or this? And asking for her advice. And she realized that, hey, there's other people that might have the same issue that I have and that could benefit from the products that I have. And so guess what happens? Well, those are consumable products, and they are one of the best types of products to create because, just like toothpaste, once you're out, you got to keep buying, right? Once you're out of your face cream, you're going to buy more face cream. Once you're out of your shampoo or your hair oil, you're going to buy more. And so anything that is consumable automatically touches on strategy 2, which is increasing the frequency by which your people can buy. Because if you think about one customer making one purchase versus over the lifetime value, if they could make a smaller purchase, but do it more frequently, do it more consistently, do it for a longer period of time, then the value of that customer and how much they have just spent with you can double, quadruple, it can go through the roof. Again, depending on what it is that you have created. The Dollar Shave Club is one business that did exactly this, right? So they did both number 1 and number 2 strategy. They wanted to increase the order value of their customers. And so instead of just giving you access to really one razor, they said, hey, we know that if you have one razor, you're probably going to need more. And so you bought a bundle. And then they set up a subscription box where, hey, you know what? Instead of just buying it one time, you probably shave all the time. If you need a razor and you're shaving, then you're doing it probably every day, every other day. You're going to need this. And so the subscription model is beautiful and brilliant, and it takes advantage of giving people what they want and making it super convenient so that they don't have to think about where am I going to go in order to make that purchase. And that automatically helps you to make more sales because you need fewer customers because they're already buying from you every single month. So imagine if you were to start off the next month already knowing that you already have sales in the door. That is the ability of setting up something where you already know that you're increasing the frequency by which your people buy. The third strategy, upsells. So we've touched on it very slightly here already. But what I want you to think about is there an ability for you to upsell and cross-sell different products and services that make sense for your customer? Now, I want you to think like Amazon, right? Most of us are not going to create a platform like Amazon, but I want you to think like Amazon because I think sometimes we are trying so hard to recreate the wheel when that is not required. And there's businesses, big businesses, and I share this because the perspective that I have is coming from a global 300 company, um, you know, the biggest company in Canada for the bulk of my career, and had well over 80,000, I think at the time that I'm doing this recording right now, well over 100,000 worldwide employees. So it's not chump change, it's a behemoth of a company. And because of that, I'm very grateful and privileged to have the perspective of those massive corporate strategies that most small business owners, including myself, would never be able to have access to. We just simply don't have the dollars available to actually command not just the dollars, right? Like it's not just about being able to pay for that service or pay for that training or pay for that knowledge. It's about having the amount of volume that's required in order to make it worthwhile for the company that's providing that training, providing that knowledge, providing that service to say, yeah, I'm going to choose you instead of the big guy. The God's honest truth is most of us, we're just not there. And that's okay. But I share this because that's part of why I'm so passionate about breaking down these big corporate strategies and making them more digestible and more accessible for the small guy like you and me. Because the vast majority of the world actually is run by small business owners like you and me instead of the big, massive giants, right? The vast majority of the dollars that are pushed through the economy are through these big giants. That being said, we have more like at arms. So if we look at Amazon, what does Amazon do really well? Amazon, now remember the humble beginnings of Amazon, because Amazon today is not where it started, right? The Amazon of the origin started as a digital library, bookstore, right? That was the vision that Jeff Bezos had, is that as he was working, I think out of his garage, out of his small tiny little office in his humble beginnings, that he had a dream to make books accessible around the world. And from that, it started to get escalated and escalated as he realized that, hey, so what Amazon is actually, Amazon's a marketplace, but Amazon is really an outsourced like logistics company. So just like McDonald's is a real estate company, they're not a fast food company. McDonald's sells fast food in order to take advantage of their real estate. They make the bulk of their money in real estate. I hope I'm not losing anybody here. If we look at Amazon, and you could argue differently, it's a distribution company, right? Because all it's doing is it's taking all of these different products and it's distributing them out and making money doing that, right? Not all of these products are made by Amazon. Not all of these products are manufactured by Amazon. In fact, the bulk of them don't come from Amazon. They're not Amazon labeled products. They are coming to Amazon so that Amazon can distribute them. So they're a marketplace. And so if we take a look at how Amazon does this, it literally is saying, hey, you bought this. So if I bought a case, guess what it's going to offer me? It's going to offer me, you might like this. You might like that. You might like this. Other customers like you bought this. Why? Because it's trying to make more money. It's trying to say, hey, we know that if you bought this, then chances are you're probably going to need a battery pack. Chances are you might need this other thing. Maybe you want a new bag, because it's looking at the buying behaviors of its customers that are similar to you now and me. Now, you may not have all that data, but I want you to think for a second and say, hey, if I was looking for this product and service, because chances are you're your best customer, right? That whatever it is that you're doing at one point in time, it solved a problem for you too. And so if you think back to what it was that you wish that you could have had, and maybe you did go out and seek other things. I just think about myself in my health journey and all of the different things. I had to go here and here and here and here and here and here and here. Like there were so many different things that I had to smush together. And as I was navigating some things with a family member recently, and they asked, well, what worked? Did this work? Did that work? Because now they're going through their own journey of what it is that they have to figure out for themselves, because every human is different. And as they were asking me, did you try this? Did you try that? And I said, yes, I did. Right. And the reason why I'm sharing that is because there was no one place for me, for her to be able to go to in order to be able to navigate and say, okay, here's what you need next. Here's what you need next. Here's maybe what you should consider. Now, if you are able to do this, and you may not be able to do this right away, and that's okay. But what I want you to consider is, does it make sense for you to offer upsells or cross sells? Does it make sense for you to partner with other business owners, whether it's in your local communities or online? Does it make sense for you to consider if there are other things, other products even, right? So I'll give you an example. If you were a YouTube coach, right? Or a video coach, and you're helping your client, and I say this because that's one of the things that I was helping my clients with at the early stages, and I had a video visibility coach as one of my clients. She was an Emmy Award winning producer. And one of the very first things that we did was we looked at, okay, you have a high ticket program, you have an offer, you're short on time because you're a single mom, and you already have a 9-to-5 job. It actually was longer because she had a commute and all this stuff. So she had to carve out her time, carve out her business in these small pockets of time. And as a result, we had to think very strategically about how to increase her income while at the same time not increasing the amount of time that she was spending away from her family, her son. And at the same time, being able to honor that she had a 9-to-5 job, right? That she was very good at and had no plans to leave because she actually did love it. So, side note, during our work together, she ended up manifesting or increasing her pay by $10,000. That was a happy byproduct, right? Now somebody, I don't know why I needed to share that. I just share that because sometimes you think that if you get so attached to the money needs to come in this way, and you plan all of these things and you use these strategies and you go, Susan, it didn't work. Like nobody's taking the upsell. Well, if the upsell isn't done strategically, if it's not aligned to your customer journey, and these are things that I work with directly with my clients on, right? If you need help with that, comment sales, and I will share information on how we might be able to work together privately. But what I want you to think about is if you have put this in place and you've had enough traffic go through it, meaning you've had at least 100 eyeballs look at the offers and nobody is biting, then and only then should you be concerned. Until you've driven enough traffic of your dream traffic, not just any old traffic, but enough of your dream clients that you would love to work with and you know should be buying this particular suite of products, then do not go changing things unless you have had expert help. Okay, because too often we are so self-critical of ourselves, and that we are getting so caught up in our feelings and our emotions and our attachment to the outcomes of what we think should happen, that we don't allow how it could happen, that the miracle and magical possibility of, but what if there's another way? What if there's another route? What if there is something else that you're expanding for? And so I share this story about this client because we had set up all of these things and they were starting to work, but not to the level that she wanted, because the first 90 days of you implementing any strategy, it's going to take time for you to figure out what's working and what's not working. And if you start to force things and you have such an attachment because you're so tightly gripped, then you're literally going to repel your best clients because they can feel that. So when you have an easygoing, like go with the flow without feeling pressured, you're not going to pressure your clients to make a sale, because that's when it starts to feel sleazy. That's when it starts to feel like you're breathing down their necks and you're starting to look at them like walking dollar bills. Don't do that. So, did the client make sales? Yes, she did, because we were able to set up a very strategic way to create other types of products that she didn't have to create herself, but she got paid as a result of her partnerships, as a result of her promotions, as a result of including them as her resources, and the way that she bundled them together with her existing products and services. So I want you to think, out of these three strategies, which one might make the most sense for you? I can't answer that for you. Only you, and only you know your business best. And so, regardless of whether you're working with me or with any other mentor, coach, or expert, unless you're providing them with all the nitty gritty details, which honestly, most people, they don't, because they forget, because it's your business and you're in it all the time, that you don't always think about all the different pieces when it matters the most. And as a result, this is where being open to experimentation, being open to trying and testing and tweaking, and then allowing yourself to make the adjustments necessary is so important. And it's so critical. In the first 90 days of deploying any campaign or strategy, it is extremely important that you give yourself the space and the time. And know this: if you are somebody who believes in something bigger and bolder than yourself, if you believe that there's a higher power, God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, you call it whatever you want, but that's my belief system. And if you believe that there is something working on your behalf in order to help you to maneuver through some of these things, then does it need to take 90 days for you to see results? No. But if you're not willing to stick it out for 90 days, like, no farmer plants expecting an immediate harvest. Can it happen? Yes. But chances are it's from seeds that were planted in previous seasons. It's from seeds that were in the ground lying dormant, right? It's from seeds that maybe they never planted, fell off of a bird, it came off of someone's shoe and like got stuck in the dirt before and nobody noticed. There's always that opportunity and that possibility, but we don't plan for that. We plan for the things that we can control, the things that we take responsibility for. And that means that if you can't do something for 90 days consistently, then it's probably best that you don't start, because it's going to get harder before it gets easier. And you don't always see instant results, especially in the world of marketing and sales. This is all one big experiment, because the reality is, as hard as you might be working, as hard as you might be trying, unless there is like that magic moment where it all suddenly locks into place, and there's so many different factors that are involved, the thing that we cannot control, which is a huge part of this equation, is your customer. Is your customer. You can't control what other people do. You can influence and persuade them Absolutely. But the reality is that the more that you try to persuade and influence, the more that you try to manipulate, I'm going to use that very loosely, right? But some of these marketing strategies, NLP strategies, different wording techniques, even copywriting, some of the ways that we have been taught in the traditional marketing and sales space, the principles work, but the methodologies of how we employ them can be very heavy handed, and it verges on abusive. I'm just going to call a spade a spade. And so when we consider that, I know that you're here because you chances are you've noticed that and you're veering away from that, or you're shying away from that in a way that actually has made you pull back from doing the things that you are meant to do, the activities that you know are required in order for you to generate sales and to have more customers and to help more people. And so if we consider that the end user, which is your customer, that you don't control, that you can't dictate whether or not they actually buy from you, that they are independent of you, and that ultimately you are leading and guiding them to making the best decision for you. It's the number one thing that I say, and I will keep saying it from the rooftops, is that whether or not people buy is not well, whether people say yes or not is not the answer, right? And I know that sometimes that ruffles feathers because as a sales coach, as a sales expert, as a business leader, most people want me to say that you're trying to get more yeses. You're trying to get people to say yes. That's the end all and be all. That's not the end all and be all. The end all and be all is that you have provided enough information transparently, openly, honestly, in a helpful way such that your customers are confident in making their buying decision. And sometimes they need help. Sometimes they need you to literally guide them step by step, and that's okay. But your job is to lead them and to guide them, not to push them, not to coerce them, and not to force them to do something that they're not comfortable doing. Because while you might get the sale, you're not going to keep it. And while you might get the client, you're not going to keep them. And you don't need to do that. You don't need to do any of that in order to create a business that you love with clients who you adore working with that are happy to pay you time and time again. And this is not about making it so that you don't give people what they need such that you're stringing them along each time, because I know sometimes that's very common in the marketplace where people are taught you create this product suite where it only delivers a certain amount of a solution. That's not what I'm suggesting either. Every single offer that you create should be full and complete. It should be one specific part of the big puzzle that they need in order to get to where they want to go. And some of those pieces of their puzzle are going to be solved by other people. And that's okay. It means nothing about you. But if you can solve more than what you currently are through one of these three strategies, then why aren't you doing it? Okay, so to quickly recap, the three strategies to help you make more sales without having to go and increase the number of customers that you are currently getting in your business. Meaning if you already have 10 people buying from you every single day, or 100 people or 1,000 people buying from you every single day, you can automatically increase your sales revenue simply by implementing 1, 2, or 3 of these strategies. So number one, you're going to focus on increasing the order value of your customer. Okay, the average cart value, the average order value. There's a number of different ways that you can do this. Number two, you're going to increase the frequency that your customers are buying from you. Again, a number of different ways that you can do this, but the simplest one is going to be to add some kind of subscription model to your product suite. Number three is to add upsells and cross sells. And these don't have to be products and services that you actually are creating or offering from within your own business. In the case of the client who was the video visibility coach, Emmy award-winning producer, the cross sells and upsells that we offered, she didn't create. They were literally like standalone products. They were things like a ring light, right? They were things like a microphone. They were things like camera recommendations. They were different things that she was able to offer that she couldn't create, right? But she partnered with brands and different types of businesses that could help provide the solution that she automatically was getting these questions. Okay, you know, what do you use for your camera? Okay, what do you use for your software? What do you recommend for my computer? What do you recommend for like the backdrop? Like all these different things in order to help people have more confidence and to be able to show up on camera, right? She even partnered with a voice coach because a lot of her clients, the number one objection that they had as to why they wouldn't work with her is their appearance and how they sounded. They didn't like the sound of their voice. And so that makes it really difficult, right? Imagine if I was on here and I didn't like the sound of my voice, I could hide, I could hide and just have like PowerPoint slides or something else showing up on this video screen. But it would be very challenging for me to be on video without actually speaking. Now, could I? Especially today with AI and all that stuff? Sure, I could. But it would be a little bit challenging given that I'm a personal brand, right? Versus a Procter and Gamble versus a Canon, right? So I'm curious, which one of these three strategies do you think might work for you? And it's okay if you need to think about it. But number one, or two, or three. So number one is the order value of your customer. Is that something that you think you could implement or would help you? So write a one in the comments. Number two is the frequency that your customers are buying. So if you could increase the frequency that customers buy from you, write number two. And number three, with upsells and cross sells. If that is an area of opportunity that you'd like to explore and you think could help you increase the sales in your business, write down number three. So, and maybe it's all three for you. If you want to grab my 6-figure blueprint, I want you to go to the link in the description box here, which is, I think, susanmcveigh.com/blueprint. You know what? I don't know what I put in there. I'm pretty sure it's blueprint. Okay, susanmcveigh.com/blueprint. Go and grab that free resource. There is a training on the other side of that you can grab. It's fully optional, but it can definitely help you. And if you would like my help, if you would like specific strategy in order to help you to identify things like this, because sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and to help you to do a deep dive assessment, at the time of this recording, I still have spots available because it's a brand new opportunity that I'm kind of pulling off the shelf in order to be able to help clients just like you. So if you're ambitious, you're driven, you're motivated, you're committed, and you want to work together over the span of 6 weeks. So right now, at the time of this recording, it's the beginning of July. So it will coincide with summer sales, summer season, and we're calling this Race to 100K. It's to help you to get to your next 100K as quickly as you would like, but certainly to give you a plan so that you know exactly how to do that and how to do that without having to work more hours. So using some of the same kinds of strategies that I'm sharing here, I invite you to send me a message or you can comment below sales, and I will get in contact with you on next steps. So every day for the month of July, I am going to be coming on live to talk about something related to your business, your sales, your money, in order to help you to make more without having to sacrifice who you are, whose you are, or your lifestyle, your health, your family, your faith, because those are really important to me. And to do it in a way that is completely aligned to how you were created so that you can have more fun. Because I want you to have a life that you never have to retire from. That literally is my goal for you. And yes, I want you to become a millionaire, a billionaire, a bajillionaire. I want you to have all the things. But ultimately, I don't want you to have to pay the price of having to sacrifice who you are and the life that you live in order to do that. So I can't wait to hear more about what's going on in your business. I can't wait to hear what happens as you implement some of these strategies. And if you would like to join me with showing up for your people and building know, like, and trust, I'm going to recommend that you, for the month of July, show up every single day and do one video a day. It doesn't have to be this long, it can be a minute. But I'm going to encourage you to start talking about what it is that you do and to do it in a way that impacts the world, regardless of whether or not people pay you. Because when you do that, when you give, the Bible says when we give, we are given back, right? Give and it is given unto you. And so I'm going to recommend that if you feel called to participate, that you take action and that you don't wait a day longer. Do it tomorrow. Okay. So with that, we'll talk to you very soon and we'll see you on the next video. Bye-bye.